Good afternoon, everyone. No beating around the bush. Let's face it, Bryan and Mbeumo is going to Manchester United. Already, day 3 of the transfer window. Cunha is gone, Delap is gone, and Mbeumo is gone. And Manchester United have pulled off a major transfer coup. I was not expecting this one to happen. I feel like, especially judging by the amount of clubs that Mbeumo could have signed for, to pick Manchester United out of all those clubs is a major shock. And I don't want to say it, but they were nice enough to get us Champions League football, so I'm going to say a fair play to them because that's actually a good coup. I can't believe they pulled that one off. Now, of course, in the Newcastle United point of view, I wanted to personally give this the night over, to have a chance to reflect on everything, of course, to wake up this morning, to be able to see everything on social media, and for you guys to hopefully, of course, take a little step back, calm down from the initial reaction, and just for us to have a look at this and to see where Newcastle is going next. Now, in my opinion, I feel like there's 3 questions surrounding the transfer yesterday where Newcastle fans are probably going to be asking in social media. The first one being, has social media drummed this up to be more than what this is? And what I mean by that is, was Bryan and Mbeumo actually our key transfer target? We know he was a target at one stage last summer, but has Newcastle continued to have him as a transfer target? Or has this one been drummed up more by journalists and by social media channels? Second question, why Manchester United? Why has he decided to join Manchester United? Out of the options he had available, like to Tottenham, Arsenal, Aston Villa, Newcastle, why has he chosen the team that doesn't have European football next season? And final question being, has Newcastle United made a mistake in this? Was this something that Newcastle United could have done something about? Or was this simply something where Newcastle United could have done nothing about? I'm here on this video now to get through it all and just to say where Newcastle is going next from here. But if you guys do enjoy the content, make sure to get down here, hit that subscribe button. Appreciate your support as always. Of course, when Newcastle United news comes out, we will report on it and we will show you what's going on. I feel like the obvious point to say that this is not the end of the world. It is a bit concerning because we're in day 3 of the window, and I know it's still so early in the window, but it's ruthless. The window is not messing around. We have seen firsthand the good players do not stick around. Eddie Howe warned us at the back end of last season about this, and Newcastle, it's always hard to judge in social media because we can only see what's been reported on or what's been announced by Newcastle, but nothing's been reported on by Newcastle. So it's either a case where we've been good behind the scenes and nothing's been leaked, or nothing's going on. It's one of the two, so it's hard to judge which one it is. And you got to look at the facts here. And Mbeumo, in my opinion, was a transfer target. I think he was a key transfer target. And while I can't come out and definitively say that he's number one, in my opinion, as a fan, I felt like he was number one. I think he was a big transfer target for Newcastle. But you guys could easily just say, well, Adam, where's the evidence to support that? Newcastle haven't put any bids in this summer. There hasn't been an awful amount of links about him this summer. Why has Newcastle not acted quicker? And that's a valid point that you can make. So, in my opinion, I felt like he was a key transfer target. And you guys could easily dispute that and go, well, where's the evidence to support that, Adam? But the key question I want to answer straight away, why Manchester United? Why has he decided to join Manchester United? Now, it's been reported so far only by the Chronicle, but it's been reported that he has been offered quadruple his wages at Manchester United. So from 45,000 a week to 180,000 pound a week. Now, I actually don't think that's a horrendous wage for him, but it's the principle of doing it. If Newcastle was to do this, well, let's say Newcastle's decided to go in there, offer him more money. So let's say we're giving £200,000 a week, and he comes to Newcastle. It's the principle of doing that. The agent of every single player will know that Newcastle decide to go out of their way and spend 4 to 5 times the wages that Mbeumo was earning at Brentford. And every single agent, every single player coming at Newcastle will then start to push for far more money than Newcastle would have normally offered. And while I'll admit now that I don't think £200,000 is a mental wage for Mbeumo considering these goal contributions last season, it's the principle of giving him almost 5 times his wages. And because of that, different football clubs out there, your agents and your players, will all just take the absolute mick out of Newcastle. And if you do it once, that'll happen again. Newcastle does need to maintain that level of confidence and calmness where you don't disrupt, you don't upset, of course, our players inside the dressing room, and also for getting players in, because you'll just make things a lot harder. Manchester United historically have always done this quite a lot. So in their eyes, 180 grand a week is probably not that bad considering some of the wages offered over the years. But they've still spent an absolute fortune on players. And you've seen Manchester United in recent years. Yes, they've won a few cups in there, which is still impressive, to be fair. But ultimately, they're not the club they once were. And I feel like for the players they brought in, the wages that they spent, they've absolutely threw it away. They threw a lot of it away. And while this is a good sign for them, and Cunha's a good sign as well, that's already £100 million in two players. And that, not to mention Manchester United needs to sell up now, I suppose, because of their PSR and FFP. So they're still not fully in the clear yet. But I'll be honest now, and I say that's a top level signing for them. And that follows up to our final question. Could Newcastle United have done something about it, and have we made a mistake with this transfer? I don't think we have, and I've said it before. Newcastle, I feel like, have done the right thing to make sure that we haven't fell into this trap where we're overspending and we're just almost desperately putting a lot of money into these wages, because if you do that, you completely destroy the infrastructure and how our team operates behind the scenes. And Mbeumo, we've lost him. It is what it is. And we move on. It is that simple. We move on to the next option. The obvious point for Newcastle is that you don't have a meltdown over it. We go on to the next transfer target. We'll have a list of players available. Eddie Howe will have a list of players there. You move on and you deal with it. And that's the simple answer I can give you now. In my personal opinion, the player Newcastle should be going in for now, this summer, Christian Pulisic over AC Milan. 20 goal contributions 2 seasons in a row at a football club that now does not have European football. A player that has experience in the Premier League at Chelsea, and a player where, unlike options like Kudus, for example, in the Premier League, or Mariaki over at Chelsea, won't have an awful amount of demand. And he's someone where he's earning £87,000 a week, which is far lower than a lot of our players at Newcastle. And someone where, if I tell you guys now, would you take Pulisic at Newcastle based on what you've seen of him? Yes, I think a lot of you would say yes, and I feel like that's an easy option straight away. Go in for, have a look at a player like Pulisic. I think he would fit Newcastle's system well. I think Eddie Howe would like a sort of player like him, and I can't say that Newcastle would go in for him and 100% say that, but surely when you look at a player like him that's available in a market where they haven't got European football, AC Milan haven't got any real pull power this season to keep a hold of some of their better players, and we've said this previously, the likes of Tomori. Pulisic is a great option there. I think would be good at Newcastle, and already, without having this meltdown in social media, that's a player we can replace straight away, and someone where he improves Newcastle's team and would be available for not a huge amount of money. As for our transfer news, I can't believe we are having this one. It's 2025, but Tim Krul, as a free agent, has been linked to Newcastle United. A simple box ticker, in my opinion, and it's someone where, because of the fact he has a youth experience at Newcastle, classes as a homegrown player and also an academy grown player, which means he fits UEFA guidelines, which is something Newcastle do need to be aware of for next season. Under UEFA guidelines, we need a set amount of homegrown players that are in our squad for Champions League football. And if we get someone like Tim Krul to be a training ground goalkeeper over someone like John Ruddy, it means Newcastle can basically sell Sean Longstaff. I think that's probably the obvious reason. If a deal like this was to happen, it's still a big if, because I'm not convinced we would bring Tim Krul in, but it is actually a potential possibility. I can't believe I'm saying this, but because of the fact that he ticks a box at Newcastle, because of the fact that if you bring him in, you can then let go some of our homegrown players, a guy like Longstaff, pure profit, potential £15 million, I would say. If you get that money from someone out there, that's a good amount of profit into the football club, and it basically clears up PSR early for next summer. So Newcastle wanted to be ahead of PSR this time. That's actually a possibility, and that's a legit way of getting around the loophole. I can't believe we are suggesting this in 2025. I love Crowley. He is an absolute legend at Newcastle, but he's not going to take the club forward. He'll be there to be a training ground goalkeeper, and he'll be there to simply tick a box. And there's been rumours speculating that Burnley is interested in signing Matt Targett. I've seen mixed opinions on social media what people think we should do with Matt Targett. I said in my Keep Us Out video, I think we should let him go. But in the defence of Matt Targett, some people have said, well, he's not bad to have around as a third choice backup option. If you get an injured player, he can come in and do something for the squad. Well, yes, I would say that he is a decent backup option. Newcastle already have loads of left backs. Lewis Hall, Livramento can play there. Burn can play there if need be. Trippier potentially could switch on the left if need be. Newcastle, if they needed to go completely out of the way to get a player in at left back, I think they could do it. And I wouldn't say it's necessarily an area where Newcastle will be struggling in. So as much as I don't mind Target, I feel like now just try and get some money for him. We can get him off the bill. And again, you want to be ahead of PSR for next summer. It's not a conversation I want to be having in this video. But ultimately, FFP and PSR is going nowhere. So Newcastle, yes, we are fine enough in this window, but we still need to be ahead of it next summer, especially if we are going to be making a few big signs in this window. For some final points coming out from this video, we are playing Atletico Madrid in a pre-season friendly with the SAGA Cup. Definitely the best SAGA Cup opponent so far, by the way. It's a good level of side. We needed the experience in the Champions League. That's a team that I like a lot. I do like them. They're an awkward team. If you ever watching the Champions League knockouts phase, they're always a team that sticks everyone behind the ball and an absolute menace to try and break down. A real S-Houser team, and I respect them quite a lot. And of course, with likes of Trippier being at Newcastle now, there's a bit of a connection there. I'm looking forward to this fixture. I think it's a real tough fixture in the SAGA Cup, and that's definitely an opponent for Newcastle where they're going to make us work a lot. They're going to get a lot out of this, and I would say pre-season wise, that's probably our most ambitious and probably our best opponent so far. Definitely since Eddie Howe's came in. Gone are the York City, Gateshead, Doncaster, Burton days. We've actually got Champions League opposition now, and that's mental sake. That was only 4 years ago when we were doing that pre-season at Doncaster. So the times have changed for the better. Enjoy it, take it in, because that's going to be a top quality fixture at St James's Park. But walking away from this video, hopefully I've calmed the storm a bit. I feel like, especially in social media yesterday, a lot of negativity from Newcastle fans that understand perhaps a bit of a panic and a bit of a, oh God, what we're going to do now. But trust me, there are plenty of options out there. I know we bigged them up. I know I bigged them up personally. I think Mbeumo, for the value, probably is the best you can get out there. But ultimately, if it doesn't work out and we can't get him in, we can't get him in. It's just that simple. There are options out there. I'll give you a great example in this video. I think Pulisic is a fantastic option to bring in. And there's a lot of players out there that would improve Newcastle and make us a much better team. And the last thing you want is a player that's picking you for money. Let's be honest, Mbeumo's not going to Manchester United because he loves the football club. He's not going there for the project of Sir Jim Radcliffe. He's not going there at all for that. He's going there simply on a personal level for a financial benefit, and of course, the revenue that he's going to be getting on a personal level. And I can't fault a player for going for money. I get it. Obviously, his family comes first, but ultimately, that's not the sort of mindset you want on Newcastle. You want a player to be here because he wants to be here long term. He wants to be able to take this football club to the next level. And while he has the capabilities of doing that, I don't think he's went to Manchester United for the right reasons, and that's a big issue Newcastle also need to be aware of. We don't want mercenaries and we don't want players that are simply coming to us for the money. So keep that in mind. Take care. Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section, and we will see you all in the next one.